Look up to your fellow lifters in admiration, for they fail more than they succeed, and hopes to succeed more than they fail. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Cam and Dan Train. Today we have working sets on the camber bar. In previous videos, we've been doing some dynamic work. We've been doing max effort day. This is week 4 of working with the camber bar, and we're going to talk about what working sets are, why we do them, why you need them, and hopefully this will be some helpful advice, and it'll help you diversify your programming or your training. So what are working sets? Working sets are quality repetitions that allow you to build your movement or build your exercise to an execution type status where every single rep looks exactly the same. There isn't very much struggle. We are pushing through our plateaus as best as we can and trying to work out any kinks as we go through it. So we're not doing anything in between this. We are entirely concentrated on this one movement. So we set a specific day to do things like this. So you might look at it as, how a bodybuilder would focus on one particular muscle part or muscle group to try and develop that muscle group and try and get a burn going as much as possible. Well, that's not necessarily what this is about. This is about moving it as effectively as possible, and that's our overarching goal here, moving the bar without having a single hitch in the movement. So we want to be as perfect as humanly possible, and that's the ultimate goal. Now, the variation for our working sets that we chose today was, I guess you could say, is a Spoto press. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I just know the guy's name was Spoto or Spot or whatever. And what we're doing is bringing the bar down to like 1 or 2 inches off the chest. We're pausing for a 1, 2, 3. Then we touch our chest and press out of it, right? The original Spoto press is just hold and then press and not bring it down to touch the chest. But we found that we need to work our leg drive a little bit more, and that spending more time in the bottom of the press has helped our press overall, right? Like I mentioned before, the shoulders in my press are weak, right? My triceps are strong, and Cameron is the exact opposite, right? So he doesn't necessarily have to spend a lot of time at the bottom. He needs to spend more time on the lockout, and I'm sure if you watched the previous videos, you could see that he has trouble locking out at the top half of his press, mid to top half. Walking through, what weights that we choose, okay? We started off at 70% for 3. All right, so we did 3 sets of 3 at 70%. We're going to follow up with 2 sets of 2 at 80%. And then we'll finish a little bit higher than that at like 87%. And that's going to be 3 sets of 1. Okay? So while it's not a lot of volume, the reps are low, so we can execute the movement as cleanly as possible. So Cam right there had 195 on. This is 205 for me. So this should be a double that I'm doing. Checking on the setup, right? I'm getting my grip out as wide as I can. And like I mentioned before, on the unrack, I'm scraping the trees, right? Feet on the bench, trying to get that arc in my upper back set. And as I set my feet down, I'm driving, there you go, drive my traps into the bench as hard as I can. I'm digging my toes into the ground. As I bring it out, I make sure I'm stable so I soak into it. And then, begin my movement from there. And the lockouts today felt really, really good. I've been putting an exercise in. It's, I don't know what they call it. It's like, basically, if you take like a lat pull down machine and you do a tricep extension in it, but you put your back up against the tricep extension machine or against the pole. It's like a JM tricep extension, but it's in like a lat pull down cable machine. And I feel like that's helping a lot. I think it's putting a little bit of size on my arms, and it's really making my lockout, like that long head of the tricep, really, really activate really hard. And so, I mean, I'll post a video in the future of what that looks like, because some of you might not just have the I guess say the creative brain to actually visualize that. So, and I'll highlight it for sure. Continuing on, the humidity in the gym is through the roof. We are in the Midwest, and I describe the Midwest as the butt crack of the United States. At least currently, that's how it feels. It smells bad. We get everyone's smells from across the country. So whatever you're cooking or whatever you're flushing, we smell it over here in the Midwest. It's ungodly humid. Cameron's originally from Florida, so the humidity is just worse here than it is in Florida. He goes, humidity in Florida is just, it's nothing like this. It's just ridiculous. It's like 92 degrees out, and we're in like one of those storage container type facilities, and behind that white wall there's nothing but doors for like semi trucks, but it's all been converted into a facility, right? But you still get that humidity, that big box gym humidity that just kind of seeps in. So even as we're moving slow, right, we're like wiping the beads of sweat from under our nose. It's just god awful. So I'm surprised we didn't chalk up for this, but then again, we're not working at like extremely heavy movements, or heavy loads, I should say. I also noticed that my body fat percentage has gone up a little bit. I changed my diet a little bit, and while I'm not too keen on how I look, but more keen on as to how I perform, and my body fat percentage really represents that. So it may be just a 1% difference. So I sit comfortably at like 12% body fat. But I noticed that about a month ago, I was sitting in the low 11%. Right now I'm like 12.4, 12.5. And that's just on like a hand body fat analysis device, right? So I noticed that sitting at 11%, that 1% difference, I'm just not as explosive. I feel weaker maximally, and as far as like volume wise, when it comes to doing like more reps, particularly on a bench press, I just run out of gas faster, man. So I changed my diet just a little bit. I actually added a lot of peanut butter, which Cam was like, you should stop doing that. There's all sorts of palm oil in there. And I'm just like, whatever, dude, I want to get stronger. And it helped because I noticed an immediate difference from previous training days that seemed to have really helped. And so I think I want to sit at this 12% for a while and just kind of feel it out. Feel like where can I take this? I don't want to look, six-pack jack. That's not what I'm going for here. That's not what Cam is really going for either. But movement is the key. We want to be able to move better. And if it means that I have to be at a higher body fat percentage, then so be it. Because in all, at my age, I feel I'm doing better than most men my age, right? A lot of men are sitting around drinking soy lattes and just getting weaker by the day, playing video games. and just distracting themselves with things that pleasure themselves. And I don't. While I do things like that, it's different, like chopping wood or doing some type of manual labor that is just out of the norm, right? So there's summers where I've hung out with another buddy of mine, and he's got a farm. We just bale hay for fun for the cows. So it's important to me to move well and to move how humans are supposed to move. Oddly enough, the bench press isn't a normal movement for human beings, right? I mean, to be a really, really good bench presser, you just have to be built for it, right? Not to say that I'm not built for it. I just think that I don't have enough experience under my belt to be a really great bench presser. I mean, my arms aren't big enough. I think my back isn't big enough, right? I mean, if I could put 2 inches of thickness on my upper back, that's 2 inches that I have to move the bar less, right? But is that really feasible? Do I want to buy a whole new wardrobe, right? Let's just get better at doing things at the weight that we're at, and see if we can make progress from there, and see how far we can take it. And I think that's important. Back to the lifting. This is a 225 for the singles, and these felt really good. And I talk about ego, and Cam was really good at distracting me. You see me smiling, and we're messing around or whatever, but he's good at distracting me from my ego, because it allows me just to be in the moment of the press, be in the moment of the training session, and really that whole training partner dynamic allows me to relax that ego and to make sure that I stay within the parameters that I set for the day. And that's probably the number one reason why I have a training partner. We have some good laughs and things like that, but it keeps me dialed in, and it's something that I really, really appreciate. It seems to remind me of the conversation that me and Cam actually had during this training session, and it was about an acquaintance of ours. I met him through Cam, and he is not necessarily the strongest individual in more ways than one, physically, emotionally, mentally. He seems to not necessarily talk a big game, but he's intelligent, but just the maturity of his strength, the maturity of his emotions, how he holds himself. He doesn't have this level of confidence that me and Cam seem to walk around with, right? Not that we're like a couple of cocky jerks or anything like that. We'll talk to anybody, we'll say hi to anybody, but he's someone that seems to need a lot of help. And I told Cam today that I'm willing to help him, right? And I think part of his upbringing is he missed out on what I would call the warrior's journey, defining that inner warrior, finding that inner beast, and exposing its weakness and breaking through those barriers. Between the ages of 8 and 12, boys seem to go through that where they really want to excel, they really want to get strong, and they really want to impress upon people that they can become a stronger male. They can become a leader. And I think this guy just kind of missed out on it. So I told Cam, I was like, look, I'm willing to work with this guy, and I'm willing to do it pro bono. And Cam looked at me like, no way, this is the greatest gift that you could give somebody. And I was just like, you know what, if I can make the time to give back to someone like that and potentially help him. So here's the thing, I offered it to him in the past, and I was going to charge him, right? And he didn't accept it. And now he's at a point in a relationship with this girl that is just not healthy. And I want to help him break through that. So I'll keep you guys up to date on this. I hope you guys really enjoy it. And, I'll keep you updated as to what's going on. You guys take care. I really enjoy talking to you. Comment if you'd like. Give me some suggestions. Go do something. Go learn to be a stronger individual.